Bonjour everyone and welcome back to Farmers Corner FC, the French football podcast 100% Ligue 1. I am your host, Jérémy Magan, and today we are going to discuss the UEFA Champions League final. Obviously, Paris Saint-Germain losing to Bayern, but also the first match day of Ligue 1, who's happening this weekend. Already some great goals, great takers, and a lot to talk about for that first match day. First, music. Blow that whistle. Okay, first we're going to talk about the Champions League final, who was this morning at 5 a.m. in Australia, 9 p.m. time in Europe. Bayern Munich against Paris Saint-Germain. Bayern Munich, who just proved to be too strong for Paris Saint-Germain, who was playing their first Champions League finals. I think Paris Saint-Germain had definitely chances to score. I'm thinking about Mbappe in the first half, Marquinhos a little bit later as well. Manuel Neuer was just on his A game today. If you look at it though, Paris did not have less chances than the Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich was just very, very efficient. Tactically, you could argue that Flick was a little bit better than Tuchel in the sense that he was able to control the midfield. We didn't really see much of the Parisian midfield. Marquinhos, I think, unfortunately, shows his limits as a defender midfield. As soon as there's a lot of press on him, it's a bit hard for him to control the ball, to have time to pass it around, and that's where you see that a guy like Verratti was probably missing in the middle of the pitch in the first stages of the game. The first half was quite disputed. Lewandowski probably had the first occasion for Bayern Munich, but unfortunately he hit the post. But in between that, Neymar had an occasion at the 15th minute, and then Di Maria with his right foot a few minutes later. I think we saw that Paris was playing their first final. A few misses from Neymar, from Di Maria, from Mbappe, probably due to nervosity or maybe the pressure of playing on the bigger stage. I guess it was pretty disappointing in my opinion, the performances of Neymar, Di Maria, and Mbappe. And then in the second half, I was a little bit surprised to see that Di Maria was replaced by Choupo-Moting. I mean, Choupo-Moting was playing the last minutes of his contract with Paris Saint-Germain. They did not extend his contract, so he's about to leave the club. And you had a guy like Mauro Icardi on the bench, who they just bought for 60 million, who's not going to play your biggest game of the year. I guess I was a little bit puzzled, especially the fact that Neymar wasn't playing his best game. I mean, I guess it's hard to get Neymar or Mbappe out, but taking Di Maria off the pitch when he was probably one of the only one causing problems to the midfield, to the Bayern midfield, I was a little bit surprised. A couple of decisions by the referee were, I guess, controversial. I think both penalties at the end of the first half for Coman and in the middle of the second half for Paris, for Mbappe, were probably fouls, and that would have given the game another dimension. But anyway, it didn't happen. The goal happened at the hour mark. Kimmich cross was quite a good cross, and with Thiago Silva not having time to go back into his back defense, you had Kerrer, who was basically stuck between Lewandowski and Coman. The ball went to the second post. Coman's by himself, nice little header, and that was 1-0. And after that, the Bayern had more chances, which I think 2 minutes after, Kimpembe and then Thiago Silva saved balls on their line, and Paris really seemed a little bit knocked, and we didn't really see the ability to bring, the pace of Mbappe, the technique of Neymar. We didn't really see that. I guess one last thing I'd like to say on the game, we saw how smart Hans Flick looked after the Neymar case. Neymar is a player that needs to have confidence to perform, and I think all 11 players of Bayern Munich fouled Neymar during the game, and then it looked a little bit like Neymar was trying to prove to them that he was able to, play his little dribbles and dribbling them one after the other without being fouled, and it looked like he made it a bit of a case of I can still dribble you even if you foul me, rather than focusing on playing the team football that he should have played if they wanted to go somewhere. I think Paredes got out of the game a little bit as well, getting a little bit too angry every time there was a foul. I guess long story short, we could definitely see the experience of a team like Bayern Munich against a team like Paris Saint-Germain. And I think Paris Saint-Germain will learn a lot from it. Tuchel had a very good year as a coach. He won all 4 titles in France. He made it to the final of the Champions League, which no one would have guessed at the beginning of the season. It's going to be interesting to see now that the real Mercato starts for Paris Saint-Germain, but also now that the Ligue starts for them. They're supposed to play this weekend against Lens. They might be pushed, the game might be rescheduled, but they're going to start the Ligue now, so it's going to be time for them to refocus on a championship that they're used to win. I'll be very interested to see how they react after that loss in UEFA Champions League final. Alright, let's go to Ligue 1 now. The top tier of French football was starting this weekend. Finally, Ligue 1 was back. The league was interrupted back in March by the Prime Minister and the French President due to the coronavirus pandemic, and it was finally back this weekend. We had 7 games going on. 3 games were rescheduled. Lyon and Paris, who were supposed to play respectively Montpellier and Metz, were rescheduled because of the Champions League, of course. And Marseille Saint-Etienne, who was supposed to be the opener for the season, was rescheduled because Marseille found out that 6 of their players had contracted the COVID-19. We wish them, obviously, the best health and as fast as possible. So the season started by Bordeaux versus Nantes, the Atlantic Derby. The second game was Dijon versus Angers and Lille versus Rennes, who was probably the match of the round on Saturday. And then on Sunday, 4 games. Monaco was hosting Reims, Strasbourg was visiting Lorient, Nîmes hosting Brest, and Nice hosting the RC Lens. We're going to start with the first game, Bordeaux against Nantes, and the only goalless game of the weekend. It was probably the worst Ligue game of the opening weekend. Bordeaux hosting Nantes at the Matmut Atlantic Stadium. The game also saw a very quick red card. Zerkan, who's going for his Ligue 1 debut, got a red card after a VAR check at the 19th minute. The first half was quite slow. It's probably understandable because Bordeaux did not really have much of a preseason. Paulo Sousa, back when he was the coach, did play 4 games, but then he got replaced by Jean-Louis Gasset on the bench, and Gasset did not play 1 preseason game. So that was basically his first real game at the head of the Girondin Bordeaux. Like I said, the first half was pretty slow. Not a lot happened. Bordeaux were the most dangerous, even though there were only 10 men. Basic at the 37 minutes and the 44th minute was quite dangerous on free kick, and then at the corner, just at the very end of the first half, Wang Guizhou header could have gone in, but just above the crossbar, unfortunately. The second half didn't show much more. Kirivella, the young recruit, had a very, very good start of the season, and his good shot was just wide of the top corner 5 minutes into the second half. The goalless draw wasn't the best way to start the Ligue 1, and unfortunately justified the Farmers League name that everyone has given Ligue 1 during this COVID break. The second game of the weekend was happening on Saturday, and it was Dijon hosting Angers, SCO d'Angers as we call them. The game was at the Stade Gaston Gérard in Dijon, and it's the only game that ended up in an away team winning this weekend. So Angers won 1-0. Dijon had the game in hand to start with, about 60% possession in the first 15 minutes, and a couple of goal opportunities. Schneider, the young striker, saw one of his goals denied for an offside position, but then slowly but surely, Angers, Moulin's men, started to take the possession back and to play their game. They didn't wait too long until they scored the 1 goal of the game at the 22nd minute on a corner kick. Tube shot a powerful one from the edge of the box. Dijon had a hard time clearing that ball, and then two little smart back heels. So Tube finding himself on the left side of the box, and just from a very narrow, close angle, he shot, hit the post. The ball landed back on his captain Touré, who from the box just shot another powerful one that went through every single defender and ended up in the back of the net. I'd say that Angers dominated most of the game. Even after that, Dijon find himself with another offside goal in the second half, but Dijon probably had a hard time putting their game together, resisting all the Angers waves, and the results would definitely be deserved for Angers. The other game going on Saturday was Lille hosting the FC Rennes. So the fourth and the third of last season in Ligue 1 was definitely the match of the round. The game started with a bit of a surprising news. Eduardo Camavinga, the famous youngster from Rennes, starting on the bench. He decided to take on the number 10 this season, probably confident after the season that he had last year. Lille probably dominated the beginning of the game. Rennes was trying to play counter-attack. Lille has a lot of pace up front. Renato Sanchez, that we know, Junior Bamba, and Jonathan Ikone are just very, very fast players, and the addition of Jonathan David, the Canadian striker, just brings more pace for Lille. It's going to be a very, very hard side to defend against, and they also have a pretty strong defense. Fonte, who's 36 years old now, showed some very, very good complicity with the new defender coming from Ajax, Spotman. Lille really had a great first half. A couple of red cards again during this game. That's 3 red cards in 3 games after that game. The first red card was given to the 19-year-old centre-back from Rennes, Boé. He got a red card for a dangerous challenge. He went to get a ball a little bit high with his feet and with his right foot, and his studs ended in Ronaldo's face. The referee didn't hesitate and showed the red card straight away. I think Lille was able to take advantage of that red card because 6 minutes later, with not a real right back behind for Rennes, Bamba had the ability to find space behind the right back. Zeka's pass is a beautiful through ball from the midfield, broke a couple of lines, find Bamba behind the defense. Bamba just took a touch from the edge of the box and then sent a precise right foot just out of reach of the goalkeeper, Mendy. A couple of minutes later again, this time the red card was given to Renildo for Lille, and it's a bit of a controversial one. The tackle from Renildo probably had too much on it. I don't know if it would justify a red card. Renildo did get the ball, but after he got the ball, he took a little bit of Rafinha's leg. Anyway, the decision was made, and the referee gave his second red card of the game just before halftime. The second half was, as a result, a little bit more disputed, and Lille slowly but surely lost control of the game, with Rennes entering 3 subs at the 60th minute, one of them being Camavinga, and we saw what a class act, Eduardo Camavinga is going to be this season. He's an 18-year-old kid, and I'm telling you, he's going to find himself if he keeps playing like this, he's going to find himself first in one of the biggest clubs in Europe next season, but also called by the French national team to the Euro 21. He just brought pace, technique, composure in the midfield, and every single opportunity came through him in the second half. It started at the 68th minute when Del Castillo crossed the ball for him, and unfortunately the ball was a little bit too far from him and he couldn't keep it down to score. And then at the 74th minute, on a corner kick, the header by Camavinga at the first post found Da Silva, and Da Silva just tackled the ball in to equalize. Both teams tried to score in the last 5 minutes. Araujo for Lille and Martin Terrier for Rennes had 2 good occasions to close it in. Terrier even hit the post, but the game finished 1-1. I think that was a very good start from both teams. Obviously, it's a better result for Rennes, getting a point away from home, but Lille showed a lot of pace up front, and once Renato Sanchez and Ikone and Bamba and Jonathan David can play together, we're going to see a very dangerous side. The Turkish striker Yilmaz got in at the end of the game, but we didn't really see much of it. It'll be interesting to see Yilmaz and Jonathan David playing together, because Yilmaz is that strong athletic player, whether David is all about the pace. I think that's going to be one of the keys to Lille being more dangerous in the future. We are going to the south for the third match, with Monaco hosting the Stade de Reims in Monaco at the Stade Louis II. Monaco is one of the teams that is going to be interesting this season. Niko Kovac is the new coach, and they were eager to have the right start of the season. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out the way they hoped to, because 5 minutes in, Stade de Reims surprised them. On one didn't look like a dangerous ball, Gia could resist Badiashile, run with the ball in the box, and then shot, leaving the goalkeeper basically helpless. After 5 minutes, definitely not the best start for Monaco. It got worse 15 minutes later, with Touré El Bilal enjoying the confusion that was caused by a potential penalty for Monaco on the other side that wasn't whistled. The Monaco players were complaining a little bit. Touré got the ball, started running towards the defense, and from outside the box placed a wonderful left foot right in the bottom corner. At 2-0, Monaco did not stop playing. They started pushing even more. Reims was very happy to just stay low and defend as hard as they could. Monaco started to get really dangerous towards the end of the first half, when Ben Yedder found the crossbar. And then just before halftime, Disasi, the former Reims player, was found on corner, and his header reduced the score for Monaco. Usually players wouldn't celebrate against their former team, but I think Disasi was so happy to make up for potentially the mistakes of the central defense early in the game that he started screaming and jumping everywhere, celebrating that goal just before halftime. During the second half, Monaco kept pushing, and they kept trying to get that equalizer. They only needed 10 minutes to have it. A free kick by Golovin at the far post was controlled magnificently by Badashile for a centre-back. A control with his leg all the way up high, his left foot, put the ball down, and then was able to just put it in from very close range. 2-2 was the final score. Monaco had 75% of the possession during that game. They really could have won that game. They had more opportunities towards the end, but it's not the worst start for Niko Kovac at the head of AS Monaco. We stay in the south for the next game. Nîmes was hosting Brest at the Stade des Costières. Nîmes won 4-0. And what a demonstration that was. Nîmes that was playing without their captain Briançon and their main striker Roux, both because of the coronavirus. During the preseason, Nîmes could only find the net once in 4 games, so scoring 4 goals in their first game was definitely something to celebrate. The man of the match will undoubtedly be Melling, the new recruit that we discussed in the former podcast. He was able to deliver an assist 8 minutes in, a beautiful short cross for Denki, and Denki just found the top corner of Larsoner's goal. And then half an hour into the game, Philippotto and Melling combine in the middle of the pitch. You have to see that goal. Philippotto, little nutmeg, then nice pass for Melling. Melling walked into the box, and a very powerful left shot, ended just under the crossbar. Brest slowly started to come back in the game with a couple of opportunities by Le Douaron or Honora, but wasn't able to find the net. At halftime, they tried everything by getting in Charbonnier, the top scorer from Ligue 2 a couple of years ago, but Nîmes just let them come up the field and waited for opportunities, in counter-attack. At 69th minute, Philippotto scored the goal. This time, Denki was with the assist, gave the ball to Philippotto just on the edge of the box, who swerved it into the side net. A few minutes later, Brest did get a red card. There was a lot of red cards during that first match day of Ligue 1. Chardonnay, just a dangerous tackle on Kone. There was not any bad intention, but just a dangerous check. So red card for Chardonnay, and Brest finished with 10 players. 5 minutes before the end of the game, Kone, just sent by Ferra, got into the box and was able to adjust Larsonner, and Denke was almost about to score the 5th goal in the last few minutes. That's a fantastic start for Nîmes and for their recruits, Melling. They are definitely showing who they're going to be this season. It's only one game, but that was definitely a show of force. For Brest, it's a game to just put behind you and focus on the next game. Lorient, newly promoted, was hosting Strasbourg at the Stade Moustoir, and what a start for the promoted team. They won the game 3-1. Lorient is back after 3 years, and the 4 last games between those two teams, between Lorient and Strasbourg, brought altogether only 4 goals. Strasbourg had won twice, Lorient had won once, and there was a draw. They scored as many goals in one game this time. Stéphane Diarra and Gerbic were starting with Lorient, the 2 recruits, but unfortunately for them, Diarra subbed in after 5 minutes only, after 5 minutes only, with his foot being injured. There's an X-ray coming to see how severe that injury is. Strasbourg actually were the more dangerous to start. Shahiri had a couple of opportunities, and it paid off at the 30th minute when he finished from the edge of the box after Ayorke, the usual striker for Strasbourg, did a very good job of keeping the possession around the box. The first half was very solid for Strasbourg. Lorient was playing some good offensive football, but Strasbourg was just a little bit too strong. During the second half, Lorient decided to push as hard as possible. The little halftime chat by Pellissier must have been positive. Shahiri, who scored the goal in the first half for Strasbourg, unfortunately lost the ball 5 minutes in the second half, and a cross by Bouigard found Wissa at the far post, who was able to head it in for the equalizer. A penalty was then given to Gerbic at the 60th minute. Mitrovic tackle came a little bit too late, and the referee didn't hesitate. The Austrian striker, who's the most expensive recruit of history of Lorient, scored it himself. Kawashima, the keeper from Strasbourg, delayed the inevitable a couple of times in front of Wissa and then Gerbic, and Strasbourg tried to equalize by playing wider to try and bring the danger in the box. The end of the game was especially marked by a lot of fouls that slowed down the rhythm, and at the 87th minute, Amel scored the third goal for Strasbourg. A counter-attack, Lefebvre launched Marveau, and Marveau found himself in the box, tried himself at scoring. Kawashima was able to deflect it, but Hamel followed and was just able to tap it in the empty net. Strasbourg tried to score still, but Zoe couldn't make it, and Ajor's goal was actually offside. It's a very good comeback from Lorient back in Ligue 1, and winning their first game 3-1 is going to give them a confident boost for that beginning of the season. The last game of the weekend was Nice against RC Lens, a game that looked, I guess, uneven on paper. Nice is going to play in Europa League this season, and Lens is just coming back from Ligue 2. The game was in Nice at the Allianz Riviera. They're two of the teams who had the best preseason, I guess. They played 8 and 7 games, but some teams were unable to play more than 3 or 4 games. Nice is in a very good streak. They've only lost 1 of the last 12 games. And Lens is back in Ligue 1 after 5 seasons in Ligue 2. The game started very well for the promoted team. Kakuta, the new recruit, was just on fire, and I posted one of his dribble on Twitter this morning because he's really skilled. There's a reason why he was in Chelsea when he was a little bit younger. He's very good ball on feet. He scored the first goal for Lens this season. He scored at the 10th minute on penalty. The referee needed the assistance of the VAR to show Dente's handball in the box, who got yellow carded for it. Kakuta, without hesitation, just just scored it in. Nice did not wait too long to answer. At the 23rd minute, Gouiri, the new recruits coming from Lyon, which the Lyon supporters weren't really happy to see leave for only 8 million euros, showed all his class, got the ball on the edge of the box, and a beautiful right foot swerve from the edge of the box, landed right under the crossbar. If anything, touches the crossbar actually before he got in for the equalizer for Gouiri. Bambou, the other recruit that everyone talked about in Nice, the central back from Brazil, injured himself just after 20 minutes playing. It's the upper leg. Looks like it's muscular. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad for Bambou. The first half finished on 1-1. Nice wasn't able to play their game. Kakuta was really good for Lens. Lens was quite offensive and took some risk. It was good to see, but Nice just wasn't able to find their groove. The second half sort of started the same way, and we needed half an hour to see the second goal of the game, and it came from a mistake. Leca, the goalkeeper from Lens, trying to play quickly, and Medina in the middle of the pitch, missing its control. Nice recovered the ball quite high on the pitch. Gouiri got the ball just outside the box, a couple of dribbles, find himself on the edge of the box again, and beat the keeper in a position that was similar to the one he scored in the first half. It wasn't a walk in the path from there for Nice. Benitez had to show all his skills in the post to make sure that Lens wasn't going to score an equalizer, and they had a couple of opportunities towards the end of the game. Great start, regardless, for Patrick Vieira's team. A win to start with, a big boost of confidence for their new forward, Gouiri, and a lot to look forward to for the OGC Nice. RC Lens also showed that they are back in Ligue 1 and they are not playing that defensive, boring game. They want to play forward. They want to score goals. They are both teams that are going to be very interesting to follow during the season. On the table, what that means after match day 1 is Nîmes, Lorient, Nice, and Angers, all with 3 points, are on top. Nîmes number 1 at the goal difference, 4 goals in, 0 goals against. And at the very bottom, obviously, Lens, Dijon, Strasbourg, and Brest are together with 0 points. A quick look at next week. Everyone's playing next week, supposedly. Friday night, Lyon is hosting Dijon. On Saturday, Rennes hosts Montpellier, and Lens is supposed to host Paris Saint-Germain, but there are talks that this game could be rescheduled to give Paris Saint-Germain time to recover from the Champions League final. And then on Sunday, 7 games, Reims, Lille, Nantes, Nîmes, Saint-Etienne, Lorient, Angers, Bordeaux, Metz, Monaco, Strasbourg, Nice, and the last game of matchday number 2 will be Brest against Marseille. A couple of mercato indiscretions, I guess, that happened since the last podcast. I think the biggest news is Gabriel Magallanes, the defender, the center back, should I say, from Lille, who apparently signed an agreement with Arsenal. He was between Arsenal, Napoli, and Manchester United, and Arsenal had the last word, so he should end up in Arsenal in the next few days. In Marseille, where we're still looking for a left back and a striker, as I was saying in episode 0, we probably found the striker. Andy Zekiri, Swiss Kosovar striker who played in Lausanne last season, who had a very good season, 22 goals and 10 assists in the Swiss league, which is obviously not one of the top leagues, but apparently André Villas-Boas wants this player to come and play for him. In Lille, Campos is trying to get Simakan from RC Strasbourg to come and play for LOSC this season. And then the teams that are probably going to now start their mercato, Lyon and Paris, are making a lot of noise. It looks like Lyon might lose Houssem Aouar and Memphis Depay, 2 of their best players. Lyon not playing the European Champions League or the Europa League this season is definitely a blow for a club of this stature in France. And I think the players, obviously the best players, will try to play European games. We are a year away from the the Euro 2020, who's being played in 21, and they want the best exposure. Paris Saint-Germain apparently is very keen on Houssem Aouar, and they might try and get him. There's definitely competition on this transfer file with Manchester City, very keen to have him, as well as Juventus. The word on the street is that Aulas, Lyon president, wants to sell Aouar to Juventus, not to Manchester City and not to Paris Saint-Germain. So we'll see where that ends up. Just a few other, the last couple of things for the Mercato in Ligue 1. Thiago Silva obviously is now out of a contract in Paris and announced that he was leaving the club in an emotional message to the supporters, apologizing for not winning the Champions League and saying thank you and goodbye to Paris Saint-Germain. And in Marseille, Florian Thauvin, the star offensive midfielder, potentially could leave against a 20 million euro check. It's a bit weird that he would leave Marseille when they're back in the Champions League, but he only has a year left on his contract and is apparently not really keen on signing a new contract. So it makes sense that Marseille, if he's not signing a new contract, is trying to sell him. Anyway, that's about it for today. Thank you for listening once again. This podcast is available on all platforms, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or for free as well on Captivate. Thanks again for listening to Farmers Corner FC, the podcast 100% Ligue 1, 100% French football in English. This was Jeremy Magan. See you next week.